Established in April 2021, Upland Development United is the oldest and most exclusive and transparent no development collaborative in the Upland Metaverse. Contact Morecheese at 168 for more information. Warning: this podcast is produced by Metaverse Ventures Entertainment and contains unsolicited and heavily biased opinions which are solely the views of the individuals involved. It does not include investment advice of any kind, and you are responsible for undertaking your own financial, including tax liability research relevant to your own individual circumstances.
Taking over the Upland. Upland Development United. Total meta domination.
This Meditainment production is brought to you today by the Samurai Aquatics and Decor Metaventure. Scan that QR code or click that link in the description and dive yourself headfirst into the Samurai Aquatics Discord server to pleasure your peepers on our current and future range of outdoor decor. Let's see how we go. G'day and welcome to UDU Podcast U2 number 67. Thanks for those of you joining us live on what is Wednesday, the 13th of September. In most places, or the 14th here in Australia, I'm Ben68, and I'm here with Morecheese. How are you this morning, Cheese?
I have my coffee. We'll see.
Yes, and if you're concerned, no, I haven't died, but my laptop has after 7 years, so I'm on the son's laptop, so I don't really know what I'm clicking on here, so should be an interesting episode. As always, we've got the Breaking Badly news, Upland Development United updates, and we'll finish up with the Upland Mash to give away some weekly challenges and, of course, roll the 1 million UpX wheels. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on the Spotify and wondering how you can get involved, we drop the link to the Zoom in the Metaverse Ventures Entertainment server each and every Tuesday at about 6:15 p.m. UTC time. Link is in the description. Last week we did say that we might be bumping it all forward, but it turns out particularly if I stop gas bagging too much, and if we can keep it down to an hour, it uploads like exponentially faster than an hour and a half. So we'll see how we go. For the How to UDU segment this week, we'll be outlining some different ways that we go about building out our nodes. For the How to Upland segment, we'll be showing a few different ways that you can optimize your collections. And then for the Metaverse Spotlight, we'll try and give a bit of a run through of the outdoor decor logistics as we know them at this point in time. All right, let's get straight into the Breaking Badly news and take a look at what's been happening in some of the crypto and upland markets. If I can click the right button, which I haven't got ready. And that reminds me, I need to put share screen on for you, don't I, Cheese? Let me see if I can find. Now, there was a whole bunch of green when I had a look before. Has anybody been keeping track of that? No? You haven't been looking?
No.
Oh, man, I've been loving it. Let me see. Here we go. This should be it. Yes.
I have a wine in my Upland update today.
Well, that's good because I didn't have a wine or a win. I've been so out of touch with everything. I'm just getting, it's that time of the year where I just get absolutely smashed at work. So I don't know. I'm assuming you can see that.
Yes.
Awesome.
Very nicely.
Yes, as you can see, the old crypto market cap is back up above 1 trillion, up 4%. And Bitcoin dominance has slung back. So it's up 3% to 39%. So that always suggests that we're on a little bit of a run here. And you can see by all the green on the left-hand side, Bitcoin's up 8% to back over 20K again. Ethereum up 1%, flat on Wax and Engine. Ripple and Solana doing well. Solana's been the leader all through the week. Yeah, just keep your eye on that one because there's some pretty wild swings going on. So that's up 9% to $35. EOS is looking very healthy. Was $1.45 last week, up 7% to $1.56. Not much happening in Polygon, 1% bump. Nothing happening in Cardano and Tron. And Flow is also up nicely, 6%. Was $1.81 to $1.93.
Nice.
Yes, those little swings and flat. I like those. Gobble, gobble. Yes. All right. And it's the opposite in the Upland markets. The 90-day average transaction volume is down 4%, was 78 million last week, down to 75 million this week, which is unusual considering we had, what was it, Porto expansion. But I think there's a lot of people, such as myself, who just doesn't even bother. I don't know. Anybody get into the
I
Porto?
didn't bother. Yeah, that's part of my wine.
Mm. Yes, and that's kind of reflected also in the long-term 90-day average trading volume, down 2%, was 4,161, just over 4,000 this week. The markets themselves all over the place. Holy moly. San Francisco down 19% on the USD floor, was $18.47 last week, down to $15.50 again. And the UPEX price has gone the opposite way, up 4%, was 25,900 last week, up to 27,000. So again, big arbitrage opportunity there between the USD and UPEX price. Same with Manhattan, although it's flipped the other way. The USD price has gone up 12%, was $50 last week, up to 57, and the UPEX price has gone down 6%, was 92,909, now 88,000. Flat in Chicago, flat in the Bronx, well, except for a little tiny bump on the USD.
There's a little bump in the Bronx.
Yeah, $8.50 last week, $8.90, flat in Rio. LA just getting crushed again, the floor. The USD price down 12%, was $4.75, down to $4.25. So, yes, it seems to be either flat or very good arbitrage opportunities.
LA really confuses me, to be honest. So weird. It's a tier 1.
It is strange, that is for sure. I don't know. I haven't been looking at the markets much at all, so that's about all I can do. Shaq says she skipped Porto too. Wait for undermint secondary. Yeah, well, the more I see that, the more I think that might be my gameplay as well. DTEC didn't skip Porto. Now he's sitting on 7K.
Oh, poor DTEC.
Porto left me wrecked.
Wrecked. Interesting. All right, Cheese, hit us with it.
Hit us with it. All right, I'm going to go straight into my wine, people. So expanding into the Porto, into surrounding areas. All right, so there's some controversy on this expansion because the wording on the Porto release in the beginning made it sound like Porto was going to be a nice small area, ideal for treasure hunting, etc. That wasn't the case, and this expansion happened. I personally get both sides of this, although I think it's great that openings are done in different parts so that more people can have an opportunity to buy into a new city. On the other hand, Upland really needs to pay attention to what goes out and how things are presented to us, their clients. People have asked CMs whether this was the complete release of Porto when it first came out, and they were told yes, and screenshots were shown. A lot of people are nervous that this will happen to already established cities, and the Porto release, the original announcement of it is really misleading. Hopefully this is a learning experience. I believe they maybe what happened was they had to release Porto and they forgot, and they're trying to kind of get it done without too much kerfuffle. I don't know. I'm going to use kerfuffle a lot today, so.
Nice. Do you think this is it a Fresno Clovis situation? Like is technically it's not Porto?
It's Porto.
It is Porto. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a bubble.
That's kind of a bad look, no matter.
It's a bad look. If they didn't say, if they didn't say anything before that this was going to be it, then it would have been okay. Like I kind of like expansions, but they kind of misled people a bit.
A bit like if they expanded Rutherford all of a sudden and said, here you go, here's another 50,000 Rutherfords.
Yes, that would not go down well. On to some good news. Spark Week is here. Spark Week started yesterday, and it brings status up rewards, Spark Sale, and Sparked Up Treasure Hunts. Just to remind people, visitor to Uplander 0.06 Spark, Uplander to Pro is 0.12, Pro to Director is 0.6, Director to Executive is 1.2, and Executive to Chief Executive is 2.4. Registration for Spark will be tomorrow, September 14th, 8 a.m. PT, and the sale will start September 15th at 9 a.m. PT. And more good news, showrooms. You got showrooms. They're small, but hey, it's something, right? I'm still very excited for what's to come, even though they have been a lot of kerfuffles. Gotta think it can only go up from here. That being said, I probably jinxed it. As Upland says, end quote, all Uplanders will have the ability to build a showroom on their property should they wish. In the future, Uplanders will be able to apply for and open showrooms as MetaVentures to sell their own creations, or, which is more realistic approach to the majority, accept requests to sell items from other players as sub merchants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just jump in
Oh
there?
yeah, go ahead.
I really would. I don't know if I should say. I wish they wouldn't put that in. They just need to flesh those details out more. Like as soon as that went out, I got a whole bunch of DMs. Same what happened with the factories. Oh, you know, they said we can sell your stuff in our showroom, so I'm building a showroom. I'm like, there's none of that mechanics in place. We can't even operate more than one showroom ourselves. You know, so
Yeah, I got those DMs too. But when it is implemented, it will be pretty exciting, as like we will need something for the middle. I'm sure like we're going to probably have, for the most part, the tier ones and the Bronx, of course. But like if we wanted to sell something in Porto or Rio, if someone had a showroom there, something like that down the road, not promising anything, but would be exciting.
yeah. Well, I mean, it just depends. Like if our manufacturing is going to be expanded greatly, then that's going to be a good problem to have. But currently we're at max speed. We're producing less than one item a day. So it's everybody just needs to be aware that we're all in just a wait and see kind of situation. So yes, we'll have to see how that one goes, Cheese, eh? So you got smashed with DMs too, eh?
Yep.
Yep.
I'm done.
Alrighty. We've
On
got
to Uplando.
we've got Uplando in to have a go at a new segment today. How are we going this morning, Uplando?
It's going good, and I feel your ever so ongoing pains and wins and losses, I guess, with what you're doing with what I would call alpha decor,
Yep.
far from beta. However, I did want to champion a couple of things. That the feedback from the players has been incredibly supportive and are behind everyone in Decor. They're very much so eager to help in any way, shape, or form that they can. And I do think that for opening day, it's going to be a very successful run for Decor. So keep hanging in there and keep on getting the manufacturing done. And we'll be looking forward to seeing when you guys actually get to cut the ribbon and open the doors, as it were. So tip of the hat. So a couple things going on in Block Explorer, the world of Block Explorers. Of course, if you're new, if you don't know what we're talking about, Block Explorers are the little digital avatar that you run around the world or the metaverse of Upland with. And when you start out in your starting cities, there are certain Block Explorers that you only have access to from the default Block Explorers. If you didn't know that, the Block Explorers you start with in San Francisco, Fresno may be different than the ones you start with in Manhattan or Porto or somewhere else. So that is a very interesting little tidbit, little fact. Also, when you become a director, you have the opportunity as a perk from becoming a director to get over to San Francisco in the City Hall, submit for a one-of-one Block Explorer. Now, these were wildly popular and had really sought and fetched a really high price for a lot of these one-of-one director Block Explorers. However, there had been some times where these had been copied to a degree that kind of dispelled the kind of crushed the one of ones. Now they're systematically going through and cleaning that up a little bit. However, I want to just point out that as that expands, yes, these are one of ones, but there are thousands upon thousands of one of ones. So it will be interesting to see what somebody values over a mint number being a one of one versus what the actual graphic or the imagery is. Point in case, we've got two events that are going on right now. The first one is the Ultimate Fan Challenge. That's for NFLPA. The reward is going to be a 2022 Gridiron Grill Block Explorer. That's very interesting. The numbers that will go out for that seem to be pretty limited. I suspect you'll see those go onto the marketplace. Probably entering into that, depending upon what the mint numbers are for those Block Explorers, could be as high as 199. Could be up in there for USD. And then for UPX, could be into the 227 range. We'll have to see how that works out. But the most highly anticipated Block Explorer that is looking to hit the open market, these have been granted versus tokenized. Granted means that you can wear these as an adornment as your Block Explorer in the game of Upland. Tokenized means it's been actually minted. So let's say that Ben and Cheese and I all went and qualified for this Series T, which was the Hot Rod Block Explorer. This one was in the MV Motor Sale. It kind of went along with that. There was a bit of an event that had gone through that, and 250 winners were announced that are going to receive this Hot Rod Block Explorer. Let's say Ben gets the first mint. That would be the number one mint. That value for that Block Explorer is deemed to have a greater value than mint number 72, 128. There are three designations along those lines. There is the first mint, the splitter mint, and the closer mint. So those, I suspect, are going to fetch a really good, handsome price, as this is just one of those Block Explorers that caught a lot of people's eyes. And I think you'll see this enter the marketplace anywhere from a low of maybe even 100 USD, but this thing could shoot all the way up and people could be asking $400 or $500 for the specific first splitter and closer mints on this one. MV Motors is very popular and people are definitely going in on some of these car-based Block Explorers. Lastly, I'll get to the what is the marketplace and what it's looking like. If you've never gotten yourself over to upxland.me, it is the creation from Hacker and iChris. They've been OGs for a long time. They have a very nifty third-party utility that you can utilize. You can go over there and look at Block Explorers on the open market. And right now, in looking, because we are in football season, the Black Friday football series of Block Explorers are looking at the whistles at about $15 is the floor price right now. There's actually two that are at $10 in a little shop called Upland. Yeah, I'm just saying, just reporting the news, people, just the facts, just the facts. The whistle and the football seem to hover around those pricing anywhere from $10 to $20. And then as you continue to climb up, the Black Friday playbook around $50 USD. And then you've got that helmet, which is highly sought after. I've seen them go for about $100 on the Black Friday football helmets, but on the marketplace right now, they're hovering at about $225, $250. And then, of course, you got the goalpost and the referee, and those keep inching up, especially that referee inching up into that $400 or $500 range. Lastly, on this, we are starting to enter into basically maybe we'll call it a moral question. And I'll ask this of you, Ben, and Morecheese, you can answer. If you see a Block Explorer that is of a player who has violated the terms of service, and it doesn't matter, let's call it from a minor infraction to a very great, huge infraction, but they're still in Alcatraz, do you buy the Block Explorer and help that player bail out of jail? Ben, where are you at on that?
I'd be entirely based on the art. Like back in the day when OTC was still a gray area, I bought out a player's account and he had Psychotic War, I think it was, and he had the skeleton sitting on the toilet with the laptop, and I was like, man, I want that Block Explorer so bad. If it was something like that, maybe, but I wouldn't just do it just for shits and giggles sort of thing.
Cheese, how about you?
You're on mute, Cheesy.
It's funny you said shits and giggles and skeleton sitting on a toilet. I don't know. Like I haven't really purchased any block explorers. Like, I don't know. If it was somebody I knew and I knew that they legit made a mistake and they're not going to do it again, then I would probably think about it. But I'm not making any promises, because then tomorrow one of my friends are going to go to jail. Jeez, help me.
Help me out. Get a little bail money. Well, that's well and good. And it's just a question that's been going around right now. There's some beautiful block explorers that have entered the marketplace at a really reasonable price. Anywhere from the bottom of the market for Director 101s is about $55. And there's some really beautiful artwork that's $200 and less.
Wow.
So yeah, very nice stuff. As a matter of fact, artwork has definitely from different artists has progressed. Last thing for the block explorers, and thank you guys for letting me take the time today. Think about the seasons that are coming up. You have Halloween, and there are Halloween ghosts, spider, the pumpkin, the skull. You've got different competitions that had or events that had taken place, and anything that's Halloween based, you'll definitely see a bit of a pop in those, because people do want to adorn those as they travel throughout in this October Halloween season. So think about that. Get to a block explorer shop owner, talk about what the pricing is. If you need to move it, make sure you price it appropriately. But from the block explorer corner, there you go. There's many in Upland, and you can find them in community project contests and tools. Thank you, guys.
Nice. I might just grab you for another minute, if that's okay. Umbrella Boys asked in chat, his director block explorer is a bad copy of No.67 BE, and he will never use. He was told that they wouldn't redo it, but what's this about them going through and cleaning them up now? Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Upland is reaching out to players individually and asking them to is there a burn mechanic or something?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, now what they're doing is they have set an account that is basically a City Hall account. Now that I want to think about the name of that account, I can't, but please have that person who's inquiring in that direct message Uplando and Upland Discord. The process there is to direct message a community manager. You can also set that over in technical bugs. If you do have one that is literally has elements that have been copied off another block explorer, you can trade that with this account. It's an Upland official account. They will then take that in and then resubmit or redistribute you a block explorer so that you don't have a double up. Hopefully that explains it.
So it's not much use if that player is no longer active in the game, though, which I think is happening a little bit.
If they are not active in the game and they do have, if you purchased a block explorer, if you have possession of it, you still may have a way to work around that. We'll see how that goes through.
All right. Thank you for your time, Uplando. Now, Uplando's, he's an example of somebody who's jumped in to take over one of these mini segments that we're hoping to get kicked off. There is still an opportunity for somebody who's all about legits. So if you have a legit shop, and as you would have heard or saw too, Uplando was able to give a little bit of a plug for his shop. Absolutely. We're all about that. Go for your life. So thanks, Uplando. Now, we do have another segment today. Dak, are you there?
Greetings, yes.
Yes, now Dak's going to take over the URL for the all things cars and racing. How are we doing this morning, mate?
Doing well. How's it going?
Good. I'll just say we are going to try and keep this show down to a half an hour. And I know that you are just like myself, that we like to go on wild ranting tangents. So
I'll keep it very short and sweet then.
Awesome. Thank you, mate.
All right. So in terms of racing and URL, which just stands for the Upland Racing League, a couple of quick notes. One, we are doing another time trials this weekend, starting Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, running to 10 p.m. Sunday Eastern. And as many of you know, I think there are now up to 5 vehicle types that have been released. And all 5 vehicle types will be able to race, and they will be racing for a shot at winning one of the URL NFTs. These NFTs were created by Metaverse from Buck. They are the official URL NFTs based on a competition we did a long time ago for the URL logo, where Metaverse won that competition. And so he got the rights to produce the official URL NFTs. There are only 500. And the reason that you may want one of these URL NFTs is that they will actually start to become what I like to call barter tokens. And you will be able to use these barter tokens for entry into experiences. An example of what I mean by that is, for example, the URL HQ track. I want to have a Vegas experience. And so that would be kind of a layer 2 kind of engagement, and being able to bring, you would be able, people would be able to pay to get into the experience. But if you have an NFT, you can burn the NFT to gain access to that experience. The other thing is, people will, some of the race commissioners have already started talking about very limited, very special raffles that would only be available to NFT holders. And then on top of that, the other thing is that it eventually will obviously have IRL merch, so get your hoodie, get your sticker, whatever it is, and being able to use these NFTs. To give you an example of what we have, kind of the value of these NFTs, we've done time trials in the past, and every time we did a time trial, we offered up trackside properties. Trackside properties go from the floor of about 25,000 UPIX all the way up to like 100 and something thousand UPIX, if not more. And so we pegged the value of these NFTs somewhere between 25 and 40 bucks. So that is kind of, when you kind of think of what the value of the NFT is, that's around what the value of the NFT is, and what the equivalent experience, raffle, or IRL merch trade and value will be. What's interesting about the NFTs is, as I mentioned, there's going to be a burn mechanic. And so as you burn the NFT, you're going to go from 500 to less and less. And so the value of the NFT is actually going to go up, and we will have we'll have second rounds of NFT. So there'll be reproductions, but it'll be like series 2, series 3, series 4. And so that there'll always be kind of that low end NFT value. But as the NFTs burn down, those original NFTs will actually go up in value. So it's going to be decisions for the community. Do I burn the NFT or do I hold it for value? The other element to these NFTs, and something that I really believe is the value of NFTs, is not the art per se, but more importantly, the idea of being able to use NFTs as validation tokens for Web3 experience or Web3 access. So URL will have a Web 3.0 access website at some point. I'm not saying it's tomorrow, but these NFTs will start to give you kind of access to some of the behind the scenes elements or some of the governance of the experience in the Web3 website. So I think that it's kind of an interesting model. I think it adds another layer to what Upland Racing kind of does, and it starts to transition. One of the things I always say is Upland Racing League is all about community racing versus just straight racing, which you can do in the Upland. And this is one of those examples where the race commissioners have these NFTs, they're going to be distributing them to the community, and then the community is going to be figuring out what to do with these NFTs and how to add value to them.
Awesome. Uplando has asked in chat, how do I get one? Me want.
Well, right now, I made the announcement that if you have a car, you can race it and try to win one of the NFTs. If you win the time trials in your class, you'll get an NFT. I believe that other race commissioners are also starting to come up. We have distributed them to different race commissioners, and so they have access to a certain number of NFTs. Elijah from the Real Node LA, Max Demon from Botafogo, and so forth. So the race commissioners are going to be doing events and other kind of special elements to give away these NFTs.
Awesome. So it's all about supporting people who are engaged. That's awesome.
Correct. And what I like is that the race commissioners are starting to come up with ways to take it, to use these NFTs. So it's not just a URL NFT. When you think about the race commissioners, they're node managers, they're neighborhood developers, they're Avenue of Fashion, right? And Shacklin and Tosshead and what they do and so forth. And so, and these are not the only NFTs that are going to be out for URL. there's going to be other NFTs, but they're going to be more kind of like supplemental versus the official token of URL.
Awesome. So get yourself over into the URL server if you haven't already done so, and check out everything that Dak and the team have got going on. I mean, they're front loading things like you would not believe. It's one of those cases where not sitting around waiting for Upland to hand us things. They're going for gold.
Yeah, and I know you've seen a little bit of what we got going on, but we'll talk about that when we're closer to something real.
Nice. Cheese has got a hand up. What's going on, Cheese? This is your show. You don't have to put your hand up.
I like your hair. You're looking fresh today.
What hair?
You got it trimmed. You got it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got to get ready. I'm going to be going to visit Upland in Kansas City next week. So, you know.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we're going to do some hanging out. What's up? Dak and Nate are going to be in the Motown. That's what's happening. And talk about hair. Look how schmancy Angela's hair is. Look at that. Look how blue over there.
Blush off camera.
Look at that.
I chopped so much of it off. It's so short now.
Looking good. Thanks for the update, Dak. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Uplando.
What cheese, Dak? Cheese, Wine and Cheese Show. Last week we celebrated 1 year and 50 episodes of the worst show ever.
Yes, we did.
And
we had, what did we have on?
Well, speaking of Dak hooked us up with another great guest. We had Jeff Bogensberger. Yes. Who is the CEO and founder of the Laughing Otter DAO, which is looking to make a positive impact on the world through the combination of decentralized Web 3.0 and blockchain technologies. And just as Jack mentioned, and we were talking about getting global community networks all engaged and doing positive things. If you're interested in keeping your glass half full, make sure you go on and check out that episode. Also, as part of that episode, we released the clips Renault and Ford racing into the metaverse, Roblox's new advertising platform, and DBS Bank joins the Sandbox metaverse. And we did, what did we do at the front of the show, Cheese? We saw that Upland started to get a bit of love in the mainstream media.
Oh yeah, we had an Upland article, which was pretty cool. Talk more about that, Ben.
Well, I just happened to do a quick search before we kicked off, and normally it's crickets for days. Like the latest article is usually 2 weeks, 2 weeks ago, but there was a nice fresh one there for us to dive into. It was a good overview article. Like if you don't know what Upland was about, they had a good overview of what it was about and who are the people who are involved and that sort of thing. So yeah, check it out. Samurai Aquatics and Decor updates. I mean, we touched on it a little bit at the start of the show. Last week, we said, don't ask us about showrooms because we don't have any information. And then what do you know? Soon after, the option to build a small showroom version 1 just auto-magically appeared within the Upland UI. Finsky sent me a message. He's like, hey, check this out. I was like, okay. We've got I think we've got 12 days before our medium factory in San Francisco inaugurates and 8 days for the medium factory in Oakland. We will be looking to move manufacturing from our small factory to the medium factory in San Francisco as soon as it's ready, but we aren't really sure if and how that'll play out or what the mechanics of that are. Manufacturing is still going at full speed ahead in the small factory for the time being, which in practice, as I said before, equals less than 1 completed item per day. So yes, Upland, I mentioned that everybody is keen to support outdoor decor. We just wish we could reciprocate. Like I said, we were hoping to have thousands of items or at least hundreds of items for sale, and we may have a couple of dozen. So we'll have to see how we go.
Ben, buddy, I wanted to mention also that the numbers had been released for the showroom. And maybe I've got this wrong, but they're different sizes of showrooms. Is that correct?
We do know that this is small showroom version 1. So there's potentially several versions of a small showroom, several versions of a medium. I suspect that as soon as my small showroom inaugurates, what do you know? There'll be another version that's a bigger one. Seems to be the case.
Can I throw out something? And I could get a little slap on the hand, but I did get from secondhand information that there were 3. Can I go ahead and go with this? You good with this?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm gonna do a Ben here because usually Ben drops all the good leaky information and the good stuff. Walking up to the line, there seems to be a small showroom that can hold 210 items. The medium would be what I understood to be 240, and the bigger showroom would be 400. It seems to be quite a disparaging part of numbers. Now, don't quote me on any of those, but that's what it seems like. Ben, am I close on any of that?
I did get some numbers. The front end and the back end numbers seems familiar. I'm not sure about the middle one, but yeah, I don't have those at hand. So
No comment.
Yeah. But I do know that when we got those numbers, Cheese, D-Tech and I thought, well, at this manufacturing speed, it's not going to be an issue. We're not going to have 300 items sitting on the showroom property. So that's not going to be a bottleneck, I don't think. So
I'll ask you one last thing too for this, Ben. Everybody, I've been asking every MetaVenturist for this pricing.
Yep.
And I know it's such a difficult one, and I'll throw you out there what I've heard. I won't tell you who has told me what, but I have been allowed to talk about that so they can get it out there and see what people respond to. It seems like a lot of entry-level people want to start at $9.95 USD. And the high that I've heard is around the $40. Now, I haven't talked to all the MetaVentures, but those who I've talked to and allowed me to actually say that to test the waters, that's where we're at. So good, bad, or indifferent, your thoughts?
Cheese?
Oh, thank you. So my take on this is for $10, is it dollars or is it UPX? 10,000
fiat.
UPX?
That's fiat, the $10 fiat.
All right. So 10 fiat is about maybe 25,000 UPX. If you think about it, maybe, because you're not getting the UPX if you buy it with that. With the way manufacturing is going and the small amount of inventory we'll have, that's going to be a steep loss to charge like $10. Unless you're making something so small and easy and low spark hours, I don't see that as being very viable with the current manufacturing at the moment.
Yes.
And I would like to point out that the artwork and the effort and what you guys are going through, the early on mints should, and that the latter, just as they're doing MB Motors. So don't have that knee-jerk reaction when you see pricing of Decor is higher at the beginning, and then the same maybe item would be less.
You're muted.
Sorry about that. The joys of not using my laptop. So sorry. I don't know. Zoom was just spazzing out for a second when I tried to do share screen. Sorry, Uplander. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I thought I was going to get in trouble for that.
No, I did have, speaking about that, I did have somebody reach out, or not reach out, just within their MetaVentures channel in the Upland server. They asked about pricing, and I'll just run through what I posted because a lot of this is relevant. I said it goes to what Cheese is saying and what you're saying too, Uplander. We personally, as when I say we here, I mean D-Tech, Cheese and myself, we don't have enough information yet to really have a decent look at pricing. We spent, Cheese, how many meetings did we do? How many hours did we discuss pricing? And then it was all, yeah, and then it's all for naught because we lost some information, we got some information. So with the massive restrictive manufacturing bottlenecks we've currently got to work with, unfortunately, that's going to mean prices will have to go way up as the supply won't be anywhere near the demand. We were preparing and expecting to manufacture hundreds of items for release. Instead, it's looking likely there'll be a couple of dozen at most. What we're most concerned about is this is setting up for a massive bubble. Like, sure, we could put our items out for sale at, say, 20,000 UPX, just as a spitball figure. But then if there's no supply and the demand's huge, can they be on-sold? Are we going to have a situation where then suddenly those players are selling those for 100,000 UPX? You know, that's a missed opportunity for us. It's not good for the community. It's a real squirrely situation. And there's also, I asked about this several times about legacy payments for content creators. Like normally if you're like Cheese, how can you say that? As like if you sell your NFTs on Atomic Hub, you always get a kickback.
I do. I since I started early-ish, I get 10% every time somebody else sells my NFT because I was the artist, I created it. And in this scenario, we haven't really gotten clear clarification if that will be the case.
Yeah, I've asked a couple of times and you just get the eyeball emojis. This is the response. So that has to be factored into pricing as well. yeah, when prices do come through, please keep them in mind that the three of us as a team, we've spent several hundred hours working over the last 5 months and loads more in the previous 13 to get ready for opening day. What Uplando said there, that there are some shops that I know that they will have vastly cheaper pricing. They have I can't say they, like, well, I do know in one case, they have outsourced their design, the construction of the NFTs that they're selling. They've outsourced those, whether that's, Fiverr.com or whatever it is. So there's been very little investment of time. There's some monetary investment there, but there's very little. So it's really no skin off their nose. If that sells for $5, if it sells for $50, it doesn't really matter. We're taking a very different approach where we're looking to sell a set of 10. Like, we want people to get these. But we're kind of really, at the moment, we're just between a rock and a hard place. So we're waiting for more information before we even begin to start talking about pricing.
But that being said, our original pricing was actually around those numbers you mentioned before we knew we were going to get bottlenecked by really low manufacturing rates. So we wanted we created the commons and the uncommons to be plentiful so that everybody can have, and even the new players coming in can have really inexpensive decor to put on their properties. But it's unfortunate that we're not going to be able to do that because of manufacturing.
Joe said in chat that he doesn't think 10 items will fit on many properties. You'd be surprised, actually. I think DTech has put out some images, and I've put them out too, that has all of the items within, like, next to the small townhouse. They are at scale, and this is the reason why we don't have all of our items up in manufacturing, because there was an issue with scaling, and we put the brakes on it, said, no, we don't want to release when the scaling's all whacked out. We want to get the scaling right. So most properties, well, I won't say most, but yeah, if you have a property that has a decent backyard or a front yard, you should be able to get several of them in for sure.
Yeah.
But one thing we don't know how big the footprints are. Like, if we get like the Lily building footprint, where the footprint was ridiculously massive, that's going to be an issue. We're hoping the footprints are teeny tiny so you can, puzzle these pieces together. We do know that there's no overlappage at all allowed, whether that's on a particular up squared, whether there can't be any overlap of two items there. We don't know those details yet. So it's all still a bit squirrely, Shirley.
Still didn't mean to ruffle those feathers and put you guys on the spot. And again, I want to trumpet, really sound this horn that Decor has gone through so much that we want to support them. And they are literally going through this, like Block Explorer Shops did, with an alpha mechanic. And literally they are collaborating with the team to create how this goes and how it actually is turned out. So bear with them. And I think that the support will come to you, for you, Angela, Ben, and DTech and the other members of Decor. So we understand what you guys are going through and how pricing's got to be how it's got to be. And we'll support you in every way we can. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Uplando.
The other point that's very important there too is we're manufacturing the first mints. So that's, this is going to be mint number 1, mint number 2, mint number 3. So that's, as you spoke about with Block Explorers, that bumps the price up as well. And I've already had heaps of people reach out in DM saying, can I reserve mint number 1 and this sort of thing. Cheese and DTech and I have briefly talked about maybe we need to set up some kind of auction thing.
That was my idea.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, yeah, we just don't know. We don't know, is there going to be reserve mechanics like that? We don't know. So, I mean, we could put an auction out there and, okay, Uplando does the highest bid for mint number 1 of the couch, but then how do we get that to him? That's still all yet to play out. So we'll see.
Yeah, Ben, just real quick, I hate to do this. I hate to do it. You can move your pieces of decor to other properties that you own.
Yep.
And I have talked to other men of interest that are going to pull some of those first mints off based upon this. so that they can show those off on the property. So if they've got them built, they're taking mint 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, they're putting them on their property so you guys can take a look at what it looks like, how it's been placed on the property. And then the rest of those being 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 along the way could be sold at the onset. And then maybe those earlier mints can be decided what to do with. People are going to be very forgiving of you on that.
Yeah. But we've only manufactured, I think, 7 pieces. If we reserve the first 5 mints for everything, then we're going to have nothing to give to anybody. So it's a tricky situation.
It is, good sir. Take those orders in the waiting line. Lay away.
I think it's a good idea. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I'm hoping that Upland kind of starts to build out a little bit more of the true manufacturing type of assembly line we've talked about before, because I think a lot of outdoor decor shops are going to be stuck. And just like the BE shops and the legit shops when they first came out, it looks better on paper than it does in reality kind of thing starts to happen. And so if you don't implement a true manufacturing economy, you're not going to get true manufacturing results.
Yes.
I agree with that. I agree with Uplando. Like, we're probably not going to get the first mints out there, so why not just use them as show off, like kind of like a showroom type thing, until we can do special orders where we can get those to auction winners.
Nice.
And I love the idea of using your first few mints as auction teasers.
Thank you, Dak.
Well, that's a good idea. I could start moving some of those now because, Cheese, you, myself, and DTAC, we have all got properties there in Midtown Terrace, so that's a great idea. All right, we're going to skip. We've already done the wine of the week. We're going to skip over that. We're going to skip over the UDU stuff, and we're going to go straight into a very quick chat about how to UDU, building out nodes.
Just to stop you real quick, Dak
Yep.
wanted to say something. He put it in chat.
Oh, I missed something. Sorry, when I crashed.
He said something about perpetual good in the metaverse. He wants to have a quick talk on that. Sounds cool.
Yeah, and I mean, I could do it next week if you guys prefer, but the idea is I threw this out there on Twitter because I've started working with different organizations. One is called Endowment. The other one is, and Endowment actually has a Discord server, so check them out. And Endowment is ENDAOMENT versus the regular way you spell endowment. And they are a nonprofit focused on helping nonprofits process crypto donations, from NFTs to crypto and so forth, but they are what is known as a DAF, donor advised fund. And so what they do is they collect all the money and then they distribute to different organizations. And I just connected the National Park Trust with them. And I was trying to get the National Park Trust to work with Upland to create a green initiative for protecting parks in Upland. And so, and then the idea through that is to create some kind of, in the NFT space, create some perpetual type of donation mechanism in the smart contract model, so that these organizations can actually receive benefits on kind of an ongoing basis. Thus, the idea of perpetual good in the metaverse. And I'm trying to set up a Twitter live chat with Endowment, and they've already given me some dates. So as soon as I have a couple of other speakers lined up, I'm going to set that up. But Endowment is going to be in. I've actually asked Jeff from Laughing Otter to participate, Lindsay from the Meta Center, and a couple of other folks to kind of engage. I also sent an invitation to Dirk to see if I can get him engaged in this conversation, because I think there is a great opportunity for ongoing good in the metaverse. And we've all heard so many different negative things about the metaverse, about NFTs and so forth. But when you start looking at the purpose of NFTs and Web 3.0 and the technology that's there, the killer application and the good that can be done with it actually is kind of interesting. And coming from the nonprofit space, where you've seen a lot, I've seen a lot of grassroots efforts, and the idea of grassroots where it's really the community starts to build up, right? And then a lot of times initiatives start from the community and they form into something. I see the same thing in kind of Web 3.0, is that it's more of a technology-based grassroots kind of social engagement model. And so I think that there's a lot of potential for a cross collaboration and pollination of technology doing good and the nonprofit space, which is true, kind of dear to my heart.
Sounds good.
So that's that for a quick blurb.
That's all right.
Thank you for that, Dak. That's awesome.
That is awesome. And there's a lot of good names dropped there. So definitely check that out. Now, Dax kind of saved me here. we're not gonna do the UDU or the Upland segment or the spotlight this week, which kind of saves me having to do it on an unfamiliar laptop. I'll try and get my laptop sorted out and we'll touch on those next week. We're going to get straight into the Upland Mash and give away some shizzle.
Ooh.
Is that all right? Because
What was the contest for?
Let me see if I can find that. So last week
it was to provide recommendations, and I never have a recommendation for you guys, so I never get to participate.
Oh, that's a cop out.
Recommendations for what?
Yes, it was in the contest channel of the MBE Discord server or in the YouTube comments. Drop your suggestions on how we could make the UDU podcast show more community friendly, or any ideas you have for focus segments we could include, and people that you think might be interested in taking those on. Cheese, could you do me a favor? Could you have a look in the YouTube comments for last week's UDU podcast? I forgot to check that one.
Now can it be retro to the idea of sending other people to you guys from previous conversations?
Well, I don't know about that. We only had 2 people come through and drop something in, at least in the MBE server. That was NFT Architect said he thinks it'd be cool to compare the known node floor prices with percentage of structures, and Umbrella Boy said he liked the AI art bots and thought maybe there could be a segment or contest where we use Upland-based prompts to make an AI painting and then either play guess the prompt or something with funny captions. Those were the only 2 that I could see.
I didn't wait. This was in the contest section
of MVE. Yep. And then
I'm looking at the YouTube video.
Yeah, it was both. It was both. Was there any?
Well, there's 0 UDU podcast YouTube comments.
Perfect. Then I'm not going to get in trouble for not including somebody. All right, let's give away. There's only 2 people on this wheel, so let's see who's going to get 20. Very easy 20,000 upix. And it is the NFT Architect wins again. He must be sleeping in today. I don't see him in chat. All right. Well done, NFT Architect. And thank you, Umbrella Boy, for always supporting. All right. Now, what else do I have to do? What was that 20,000 UPX? Let me write that down before I forget. Now, I forgot to do a code word or phrase, so you get away from that this week because we're racing through. We have to see who's going to play. So I should have stayed on share screen. Thank you, Jazz, once again for patching these over to me from the snapshot. Let's see who's going to go for it. Option again.
Wow.
Comes back and he gets some love straight away. Are you there, Option? Option. I'll do the next contest in a second. Joe.
Option.
Rigged. Dak's calling it rigged. Option Guru, you there? Oh, he was in. I don't see him in.
He's
Must
not
have jumped
anymore.
out. He's not in. All right, we're rolling again.
Ruh-roh.
Let me remove that. Let's go. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, you got to be here when we roll. Oh, has it ticked over?
Ooh.
I think it has.
Oh, wow.
Is that Kinder or Kinder? Kinder. Are you there, Kinder?
I think it's Kinder. That's what I call him.
Kinder
Hey, guys.
Surprise. Hey.
Ooh.
It's kinder.
Oh, I'm
Kinder.
sorry.
That's all right. How are you guys?
You know what it is? Because I think of the chocolate, and I'm like,
All righty. You got those wheels there? Good to go, Cheese?
Oh, shit. I just rolled it. Hold on. I got to refresh this now.
All right. Are you aware how to
All
play?
right, got it.
I'm going to keep saying kinder now. You got that in my brain. Kinder.
Yes. I
Oh my God, every day, every week, I always have to, here we go. I relearn how to share. All right, kinder. Tell me
Sure.
when.
Yeah, go for it.
So 5 chances at 25K on this wheel. Man, it's laggy on this laptop. What do we got? What's ticking over to? 1,000 UPX. That's a decent prize. That's a couple of treasure hunts. Do you want to bank that UPX or do you want to roll again?
Roll it again.
Going for it. All right. On to
Going
the
for the
second
big
wheel.
All right, tell me when.
No whammies. No
Yeah,
whammies.
No
go for
whammies. Alrighty, there's 3 chances at 50K on this wheel. And then, of course, the option to go lower, which you have done. 500 UPX. Yeah, that's a decent. I'd be happy if I did a treasure hunt and got 500 UPX.
And then spin it one more time.
No, he's going for gold. All right, let's
Yeah.
go. Let's see if we can give away this mill or some other things. So, yeah,
Tell
we've got.
me, shoosh, tell me when.
Go for it.
Go for it. Dax
Everyone
feeling it.
wins.
Dax feeling it. Where are we? It's coming around.
Everyone wins.
Ah,
Oh,
you did. Well, you got the highest prize so far, so good on you. You went from 1,000 to 500, back up to 1,250 UPX. What's your in-game name, Kinder?
Kinder 520.
Kinder 520. All right, I shall get that massive prize to you shortly.
Right on. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for jumping in. Now, next week's challenge, very easy one. I'm going to make it super easy. All you have to do is find the contents channel within the MBE server. It's the only one that has the emoji on it of the little trophy. Tag me and, I don't know, let me know what you had for breakfast or something. Make it something easy. Something random. The prize is going to be 10,068 UPX because next week is show number 68. So there you go. 10,068 UPX. I feel like we've forgotten to do something, Cheese. Have we done everything? I mean, we skipped over a few things this week.
I don't know.
Don't know. All right, we'll see how we go. A reminder to go into the running for the 1 million UPX wheels. You should be in the Zoom at the start of the show for the snapshot. Sometimes you need to be paying attention in the middle of the show to catch a code word or phrase. But most importantly of all, you need to be here at the back end when the wheels start rolling. If you have an Upland NFT or Metaverse product, service, or event to promote, opportunities are available for sponsorship and engagement in this, the UDU Podcast. Contact myself or Cheese to discuss and secure your spot. All proceeds go towards giveaways and prizes on the podcast. And like I said, if you're somebody who has a MetaVenture shop or you have something going on in Upland that you'd like to take on a little segment each and every week, hit us up. We're happy to help the community in any way that we can. Otherwise, we're just going to keep spamming that Samurai Aquatics ad. Like and subscribe, rate and review, spruik and spam, all that interesting stuff. Cheese, please get us the flock.
Stay fresh, cheese bags.